Okay, I'm just getting this stream sorted out. Bear with me. Just reading Von Doodle's comment. Worth the money, but scared the jeebus out of me. Brilliant. I'm just boiling the kettle. I'll be back in a moment. Right. So for a bit of extra fun, we're going to run FS Realistic in the background. And minimise that. Okay. Now, what loadout do we want in this? We just have the 530, I guess. We're not going to do anything special. It's all going to be VFR anyway. The only problem now is I need to remember how to start the aircraft. Take the yoke off, because all safe pilots remove the yoke, don't they? Beacon light on. Let's go, before we do anything, and make sure we have the correct control configuration. So we want the Grand Caravan, there it was. Apply, go back, resume. Which should give us reverse pitch and control of RPM. Right, so let's see if we can remember how to do this. Batteries on. Fuel boost to norm. Ignition should be on norm, and then we go for start. Just watching the numbers over here, so we should be good now to okay, we've got fuel pressure. Hurrah! And the yokes are shaking, which is quite amusing. Starter can come back off. GPSs are booting up. Transponder can come on. Let's just check the damage status of the aeroplane. It's all good at the moment, because that's because I haven't been haven't got my hands on it yet. Okay. Recognition lights on. Nav lights on. Pitot heat on. we're okay with everything else. I think we're more or less ready to go. It doesn't take long in this aircraft to get it up and running. Just wait for the GPS to come on properly. Generator is showing off, so we will reset generator. Okay, so which way is the runway here? Over there. And there's no wind today, which is useful. So flaps to take off. Come off the parking brake. Okay, we are off to the races, ladies and gentlemen. Flaps up. So should we do our normal trick with little nav maps so we can see at least where we are? Window, open, window layout, minimal. There we go. So we are going up the valley to the left of Mount Cook. Climbing all the time. We're just coming up to 5,000 feet. You can see that where the ice melt has come down the valley and carved huge chunks out of it. So what we'll do, we'll start off exploring Mount Cook and then we'll go down towards Wanaka, maybe, and then on down to Queenstown maybe if we have enough time. Some of the textures aren't quite as good as you think they should be, especially as this is kind of one of the points of interest. Looking at the torque here, trying to keep it on the right side of the line and trying to keep our speed up. We might need to take some quite drastic action in a moment to get over this peak, or let's go stay to one side in case we need to turn. So we're using attitude indicator here. Yeah, we're going to need to turn. There's no way we're going to make that peak. Don't want to get into a situation where we're going to stall. Well, we might make it actually. I just lengthen our route to get there. We're going to be lucky. Whoa, now there's a drop down the other side. So we're going to carry on climbing and we will circle the top of Mount Cook once we get some height, but as you can see we're above most of the surrounding hills and clouds now. Now when I loaded in earlier it was pouring down with rain, and that's where I've chosen a few clouds. Should we see if it's improved any? So if I put live weather on, no. The answer to that, can't see a thing. So what we're going to do is put a few clouds on. So we scoot over to this side. Probably need to be careful with icing, although there's not much in the way of cloud that we're going to be travelling through, so we should be okay. Put the weather on clear so we can actually see it properly. Actually, let's try some of the others. I never really... so that might be a bit more scenic actually. If we go for broken, that just puts a huge carpet of cloud down there. High level clouds. Oh, that's even better. Then we get to see the scenery. So you can see the lake going off into the distance. So we're still right against the limits on the engine. We are just coming up to 13,000 feet. right. Cut back to 75% throttle. What we're going to do is stay at 13,500 at the moment. Okay, so if we go and dial that in, and turn the autopilot on. Oh, bless me, blimey. Unexpected sneeze. I'm just going to move the heading marker around. Go to heading mode. So autopilot's on, heading mode is engaged, and we can admire the sights a little bit. So let's find out where we are. So we are heading down roughly the direction I wanted to go. Oh blimey, where did the sneezes come from? My word. So we want to go along this, or is it this valley we really want? No, that's down there, isn't it? Down Dobson Valley towards Lake Ohau. We want to go along Lake Hawea really, which seems to be off down this way. So if we go 10 degrees or so. Have we got any VORs or anything within reach? Yeah, there's one at Queenstown, which is ideally where we would like to head to. So we are at the moment here, so let's add that position to our flight plan. We want to show the flight plan, don't we? So then we can do that. Oops. So 189 degrees we actually want. So 189 is going to be there. We're way out of range of the VOR, I imagine, at the moment. Unless that is picking up. Where's the DME? No, we're not picking up anything yet. But that's not unusual. And we're freezing our backside off in the cockpit. Where's the temperature gauge? 39, 3 degrees centigrade. Oh my word, I do apologise to the pilot, our pretend pilot. Let's get some heating on, shall we? Bleed air heat on, and cabin heat. It's behind here, isn't it? Degrees. Come on, warm up. 5 degrees. Yeah, it will soon be nice and toasty in our pretend cockpit. The little blue light here means basically it's below 10 degrees in the cockpit. It's slowly coming up. That scenery. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Evening, Lee. Evening, Oscar. Wow, Buenos Aires. Amazing. I've just been looking at putting a tour of Argentina together as a a tour for the virtual airline, because I've been slowly penciling in the countries we haven't been to with the virtual airline yet that haven't got tours, and yeah, Argentina is one of the major ones. It's difficult to know what sort of aircraft to pitch it for though, whether to go for like 250-mile legs, you know, for kind of turboprop kind of range, which I think it possibly will be. It'll be going to like Salta and Cordova and down to all over the place really. Yeah, starting off, going off to the northwest of Argentina into the mountains would be great fun. And obviously maybe end at Buenos Aires, I'm not sure. Evening Rockstar from Germany. So, shall we descend into this valley and make this a bit more interesting? So, oh actually no, we want to stay straight line, don't we? And then go into the next valley, the one that's ahead of us over here. That's the one that continues on down to Wanaka and then on to Queenstown. For a bit of fun, if we have enough time when we get to Queenstown, we could go round and through to Milford Sound, which is a really pretty route. So let's lose a few thousand feet anyway while we're en route. So we'll go down to 10,000 feet. And is it going to let us? Altitude. It always amuses me, these different autopilot units all behave slightly differently in terms of the button sequences you have to press. So if we come down at 1,000 feet a minute and keep an eye on the indicated airspeed, we have to pull the RPM back a bit. It does amuse me in the operating handbooks for some of the turboprops. The only advice they really give on the RPM of the propeller is if you want to have a quiet cruise, then you can turn the RPM down. But there's no kind of efficiency discussion or anything like that. It's just like, it's almost like a volume knob. LSPDFR is awesome. Says he has a laptop that can't run flight sim, obviously, but an Xbox that can, but then he can't get the mods. It's a shame. I've got a laptop, but it's a Chromebook, so I deliberately don't have anything clever on my laptop. I use it purposely as a tool for writing emails, for looking at YouTube, for writing notes, writing the odd blog post. That's about it. So Chromebook is perfect for me for that. It can run Linux applications on the Chromebook. I just very rarely have a need to run them, so don't usually bother. It can run Android apps as well, but again, like I say, it's just as easy to run a web application. Right, should we turn to get overhead the valley? So we've got, just looking, we haven't got any DME yet. Oh, have I actually tuned in the VOR? I haven't, have I? 113.6, that would help. No wonder we're not picking anything up, especially as we haven't actually turned anything on to do it. That's a bit better. 72 miles. turn on some lights on the instruments. It's quite dark, isn't it? Or maybe it's just the automatic aperture control on the camera's making it look like that. Light brightness, let's have a look. So if we go and turn that on, that's the little floodlights. What about the backlighting? It's better than it was. So I don't recall actually putting a flight plan in here. So should we put one in? I know it's retrospective, but so NZMC was our departure airfield. NZMC Mount Cook, enter. And we're going to go initially to Queenstown, which is NZQN. Enter. And that will hopefully, yeah, you've got the magenta line just to the south of us, which is obviously that as the crow flies. Very good. So, do we need to be turning left here? Yes, we do. And we can begin descending a bit more. If we come down to 7,500 feet and do it at 1,000 feet a minute again. So you can see the height is falling off. So FBI is saying, what are my thoughts on the Just Flight PA-28s? Flew some in real life, just need some opinions. They're very, very good. They fixed most of the issues of the things that were broken on them now. So they are very, very good. I bought the whole pack, so I've got the Warrior and the PA-28. Oh, what's it called? Piper Arrow. Is it Archer or Arrow? I can never remember which is which. But there's a Arrow. Is it Arrow Mark III or Archer Mark III? Then the Mark III Turbo and the Mark IV. The Mark IV has got the T-tail, which is a little bit different. I don't think it really affects its handling, but it's interesting though, the story behind how it ended up with that tail. But there's some videos if you want to go and look on the channel. I recorded videos with all of them, one after another, one night after the next, and did some short flights around the UK in them just to put them through their paces really. So yeah, Count Zacula, they are absolutely correct. This is the Black Square 208 Grand Caravan. So it's the same externally, it's identical to the one that comes stock with the simulator. But internally, it's been ripped out. So a really good interview today with the founder of Black Square. It's a single guy that has built all these aircraft interiors and done all the modelling. He's a one-man band. It's stunning really. This one guy has done all of this work for the... Now what is it? He's done the Caravan now, the King Air, and the Baron, and the Bonanza. They are all very, very good. When Flight Sim gets the textures right, it really does, doesn't it? Sometimes, like that side, the lighting's a bit off, but this side, it just hits kind of a sweet spot, doesn't it? So we're down to 7.5. Let's drop to a bit lower then. 3,500 feet. At 1,000 feet a minute. Let's come back off the speed. Just pulled the prop RPM back a bit. So FBI has got the Black Square King out and thought it was a bit pricey. It's very good though. I think any of us that have been around since the days of like X-Plane 11 and FSX, the price of the planes in Microsoft Flight Simulator, in the modern one, are much cheaper than they have been in the past for the previous simulators. So for those coming into it now, they are very lucky. Even the PMDGs, where you might pay, is it £35 for the 737-600? In previous versions of Flight Sim, the PMDGs were £100. So they were 3 times the amount that 737-600 costs. Matt Lauer's secret hideout. So up ahead on the right where the lake doglegs. So over here somewhere. I'll pretend to know who Matt Lauer is. I don't actually have a clue. So if we have a look on the map here. NZWC is on the side of the lake down here. Should we scout it out? So this is Dingleburn Station Airstrip. Oh, we've got to try it, haven't we? So it's behind here. Right, off the autopilot. We're going to go and visit Dingleburn on the way. I like the Caravan and the Kodiak. To be honest, I haven't flown the Kodiak for ages. I need to go and give it another go. When it came out with the amphibious add-on, I went and reinstalled it and got reacquainted with it, but I haven't actually flown it properly for a long time. So the beeps are just warning us that we are a certain distance away from our target altitude. I think it's 900 feet in this. It might be 1,000, I can't remember. It's interesting, we're running along quite happily here with the fuel only on the low idle setting. We're going a bit quick, aren't we? The aeroplane's starting to complain. Turn the RPM right down on the propeller. So where is the actual runway? I will admit I haven't seen it yet. unless it's just this patch of grass. Let's have a quick look on the map. We're right over the top of it. I can't see much in the way of a runway below us. Oh, there it is. No, that's not it. It must just be this patch of grass here. Let's do a bit of research. So we are right overhead, just before the lake. Yeah, it is. It's that patch of grass. Okay then. How are we doing for speed? What we could do, if I do like a left circuit around it, it will give me time to lose some height. I'm just going to side slip my way down. Turbulence is pretty strong around here. Just keep an eye on that hillside. Don't get too close. Hey, flaps up. We'll carry on down to Queenstown, I guess. Okay, let's find out where we are. Not far out from Wanaka now, about 15 miles away. So just continue across the floodplain and we get to it automatically almost. Should we stay over next to the hills? It's a bit more interesting over there, isn't it? The temperature in the cabin staying steady at 25 now. It's all good. Straight line. It's just an artifact in the scenery, wasn't it? Gonna ruin their breakfast in their house. Okay, straight line it to Wanaka then. So given the wind, we're looking at runway 29. There's a grass and a hard runway at Wanaka. So we should get visuals on it very soon. Let's get some altitude, then we'll be able to see it. It's over here, isn't it? There's the hard runway, and the grass one's just alongside it. Sit in the pilot's seat again. So we've slowed down enough for the flaps, which we've just deployed. These rotary irrigation systems are amazing, aren't they? They have a huge arm with an engine and a wheel, and they drive in circles, spraying the field with like outrigger wheels along the arm. Really, really cool. That stutter was at just the wrong 1/10 of a second, wasn't it? Okay, and rejoin the route. If we carry on down the valley into Queenstown, so it should be just off to our left here. So 2,500 feet at the moment, so let's turn that on and go autopilot on. Altitude hold is fine. Heading hold. There we go, and we can now mess around and not have to look where the plane's going. So 20 miles to go, 23 miles to go until we get to Queenstown. There's a little bit of turbulence through here, isn't there? What we do next? Turn up the valley. So we're pretty much going straight towards Queenstown at the moment. Yeah, you can see there, look. Obviously we're going to have to avoid this side of the valley though, so we will corkscrew off. to start doing now. How are we doing on fuel and other such? Oh, we've got tons of fuel. In the green on all the gauges that matter. So we're getting an online services unreachable message, which usually means that the scenery, so yeah, you can see, look, successfully reconnected. Let's see if the scrub that's missing on these hilltops reappears. They're probably rebooting servers somewhere. So disclaimer, I work as a software developer on cloud solutions, so I kind of know how this stuff works for my sins. So the feeding of data to Flight Simulator is almost certainly done by some sort of containerization, so Azure Functions or something similar. It's called elastic computing, you know, where the resources rise to meet the demand. I have no doubts that that Microsoft are using the back end of Flight Simulator as a prototyping tool for bulk feeding of data. They're probably trying out all kinds of strategies, you know, using the users of Flight Simulator as guinea pigs, basically. Should we descend into the river? Well, not into the river, but over the river. Doing on the routes. About another 10-12 miles or so to go. So Alexander was saying that's low flying. That wasn't low. I'll show you low. This is where I get into trouble, isn't it? This is low. This plane doesn't handle very well for going round, you know, tight corners and stuff. Just watch the wingtip on that hillside. I was trying to graze the grass then to make it shudder, just in case you were wondering. So that was low. You know you're low when you can see the grass whizzing past just below the tyres. So if we follow the road, we should end up at Queenstown, I guess. It's like flying the Mac Loop, isn't it? 140 knots. So where does the road go? Straight through the hill by the look of it. Then it's really badly modelled. We turn right here down into Queenstown, I think. Yes, we do. So the airfield's just over here. You can see the runway actually already over there. So this whole area has had special attention. So it's got higher resolution textures, it's got custom 3D assets, and it shows. You can see it even from this distance, it looks better, doesn't it? But it does mean you need more grunt to keep the frame rate up. So we will circle the airfield before we come in and do a touch and go. And then we'll carry on down to Milford Sound. And depending on the time, we may go and have a look at Martins Bay, which is probably my favourite airfield in New Zealand in the simulator. I think these areas have had photogrammetry. Yeah, they have. Farm down there, loads of animals. Some sort of supermarket. So there's an ATR down there. That's supposed to be coming out in the next couple of weeks, isn't it? That's going to be great fun. I do wonder, when you see ATRs in the sim, is it one of the testers, or is it just a an AI plane? Whenever I see them, I wonder, is it actually crewed by somebody? Stutters badly sometimes. I think it's loading 3D assets of aircraft when it stutters badly, which of course happens the most often at airfields, which is the worst time you could possibly want it to happen. Oh, is it Tuesday for the ATR? Oh, good to know, thank you. Off to Milford Sound we go. I'm going to put myself on autopilot for a moment. So it's coming up to 2,500 feet anyway. Interesting, the trim isn't working again. Let's just come across here. Means I can have something to eat while we're flying and look at the comments. So that 777 pilot says hello. Okay, so what's that? Somebody sank their speedboat by the look of it. How bizarre. I think it's just a yacht, isn't it? Photograph from overhead, it just looks odd. Scenery in this simulator is amazing sometimes, isn't it? So what we're going to do is cut through at Queenstown and then go round the back and into, actually we could go straight over the top of here, couldn't we? It's probably the easier route, to be honest. So Jacko is asking about X-Plane. I haven't seen X-Plane for about 2 years, so my memory is quite poor. The tablet is called AviTab and it's an add-on. I would just delete it and go and re-add it. So re-download AviTab. So when we go through the pass at Greenstone, we'll continue in a straight line but start climbing, I guess. But we could, rather than playing the silly game of going through the valleys, actually we could do it now, couldn't we? If we go for 9,500 feet. Do it at 1500 feet a minute. Turn the RPM up. Push the throttle on a little bit. Let's just check the engine gauges, make sure we're not. Oh, that's a bit too much. I'm just taking the RPM away from the red line. So we basically need to climb to a high enough altitude to escape here by the end of the valley. So we'll just continue climbing the whole length of the valley. Then we have nothing to worry about at the other end. That looks like a painting, doesn't it? I've wondered about going and buying a copy of X-Plane 12 because I've got X-Plane 11, but the trouble is by the time you've gone and bought X-Plane and then bought Orbex scenery for it and bought some study level planes, you're looking at the best part of £500 or £600. But I may eventually, just to compare it against Flight Sim, to put the videos out to show people a side by side. You know, same aeroplane, same place, with scenery upgrades in X-Plane, and then look at the price. And then people will start laughing, because Flight Sim's what, £60? You get the scenery for nothing. Versus, and then maybe another 30 for a decent plane. Versus, so you got like 60, 90, maybe if you bought a couple of scenery add-ons for airports, you're going to have £100 all in, versus X-Plane, which costs 5 times as much, and yet the GA aeroplanes in Flight Sim are now widely regarded as being better than X-Plane because of the slipstream simulation, the CFD, the soft body simulation, the fidelity of the air modelling has basically left X-Plane for dead. I mean, X-Plane's still very... This is the thing, we're splitting hairs. They are both very, very good simulators. They approach the simulation in different ways than each other, but they are both converging on the same place. In a way, we're very lucky that we have the options that we do. And of course, if you want to fly military jets and you want the best flight models of anything, you go and buy X-Plane. Whoa. Now there's a view. So we are straight lining it to Milford Sound. Do we have enough altitude yet? Not quite. So yeah, Shady's right. DCS is the one to go for military, no question. Okay, the planes are expensive, but the flight models are stunning. Funny though, look, you get odd cases, so it looks stunning over here, and then you get an area where there's maybe the textures haven't been supplied in as high quality, and it suddenly looks bizarre. But when it works well, it works wonderfully. How are we doing for height? 9,500 feet. On the money. 160 knots or thereabouts. So if we go down through here, because the airfield's down here, we can see it already. So if we come off the throttle. Just going to side slip it in to see if we can get a bit steeper descent rate. So what we're going to do is pull the nose up, get the flaps within flaps range. And then descend with side slip. And then use attitude to control airspeed, and we should be able to come down at a frightening rate. There we go. So about, well, it's off the gauge basically, about 4,000 feet a minute or more. So if we look at this from outside, you can see what I'm doing. Got flaps down, we're side slipping, so we're actually going that way. So I need to turn this way a bit. So if you look at the rudder deflection, so right wing down, flaps down, full rudder deflection, and we're using that as an aerodynamic device to lose height in a hurry. So now we'll stop doing that. Increase RPM once again. The engine back up. And there's the airfield. It does feel a bit like coming into Rivendell, coming into Martin's Bay, doesn't it? Not Martin's Bay, this is Milford Sound. Martin's Bay is further up there on the coast. I think we're going to finish here this evening because I'm getting tired. So I'll loop round over the bay. I wonder if they fixed the bugs with the liner. It was drawing all kinds of crazy polygons, wasn't it, when it first arrived with the update? I think they fixed it now by the look of it. So we'll loop around the liner and then come back in for the approach. So how are we doing for airspeed? So we can begin dropping the flaps. It's actually travelling, I didn't realise that before. Okay, there's the airfield. Too high, too fast. I'm just side slipping a little bit to bleed some speed off. Which was dangerous, but it achieved the objective. And then the party piece of this aircraft. Watch the wing. Parking brake on. Cut the fuel. Generator can stay where it is. Job's a good one. So there we go. Milford Sound. in Flight Simulator. So yeah, FS Realistic, on some aeroplanes it's quite good, on others it's not so good, but you can set it up how you want it. So you can have different, you know, severities of vibrations and stuff, and you can load other people's profiles. So you can go to Profile Cloud, for example, and you can see which are the most popular for that particular aircraft type. So that one's been used 292 times, it's got a 5-star rating, so we could like load that particular profile in and have a play with it. And it just affects, you know, what is going to be simulated. So you get all sorts of things, you know, like sounds, vibrations, movement. It's an interesting one. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for watching. I will put this live stream out on the blog. So I've got a blog, if you haven't seen it, at johnbeckett.substack.com. So you can go and subscribe there for free and get email updates whenever I put a video out. So I'll put a link in the comments of this live stream when it goes onto YouTube. Okay, so that's johnbeckett.substack.com.